Excellent. How's it going today, Israel? Pleasure to have you.
Going good. Likewise, man. Always a pleasure. Going good. Pretty chill today, for a change.
Nice,
Not
nice.
enough calls. Yeah.
Yeah, what's the you guys are in Israel. What's the weather like in Israel today? Just
It's
curious.
funny you're asking. I think today is the first day of this so-called winter where we had like kind of like rain and some storms. Not nothing too big, but actually today was the first rainy day of this winter so far.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, we haven't seen rain in Las Vegas for 195 days.
Nice, nice. So we compete, I think. No, we have more rain than that, probably. But
Gotcha.
we
Gotcha.
also, consider to be a a warm climate country.
Hmm. I see. Very nice. Very nice. Well, thanks for coming. Excited to get into the subject today. We'll be talking about beyond the hype, how to keep your Web3 community thriving. And three just major key points that I'd like to go over today is the user journey, of course, is super important. Understanding, the on-chain behavior, what users enjoy, and also measuring the value. How to measure all these different things that the users are doing. From onboarding to your community, all the way to using your services and products and staying engaged and staying active, and instead of being a passive user, being an active user that contributes to your community continuously, which is extremely important beyond the hype, right? So
Yeah,
I'm excited to get into that.
100%.
And so, um, yes, let's get right into it. So, whenever it comes to the Web3 space, hype, is nothing, is not a new term. So many people are used to this terminology, and it's a fun part to it's a fun thing to be a part of whenever you're a part of a project that has a ton of hype. But for a project owner, it's really tough to sustain that hype, after it's over. Have you been a part of projects that have seen the crazy hype and then died off, a couple days later, a couple weeks later?
Yes, unfortunately, there's a lot of those, especially, in the last couple years, nothing new. All the meme craze, let's say, meme tokens, and not only memes, actually. We had it with the NFT wave
Hmm.
2021, and we're seeing it all the time today, a lot less than what we used to have. If you remember the last bull run, or like 2021 ish. Yeah, we had a lot of those hyped projects. But let me tell you this: the hype serves sometimes serves a cause eventually, because and let me give you an example here. Like, I met with a company the other day, potential clients, and they are working on appreciating their token value, right? So they're working
Mhm.
on like ways to make the price go up. And they think about it from two directions. They think about, use some market makers and other techniques, of course, behind the scenes. But at the same time, they want real appreciation as well. So they work
Right.
on some initiatives in the community, not hype in a sense of, hey guys, retweet, give us this emoji all day long and stuff like that, but meaningful hype, like meaningful events, maybe meaningful hype around specific features and innovation around the project. And that comes together with, you know, taking the project up, because eventually you have some stakeholders, token holders, right? And it's not only about profiting. And this is a nice thing to see for some founders. Whenever they're live, they have responsibility eventually, because your company, you have investors for your company. It doesn't matter if they're like equity investors or crypto investors. Eventually, you have responsibility to those people who believed in you. And now you could take some profits and go home. But the real ones, the real, people in the market, they don't do it. They work very hard to appreciate they're dedicated and willing to put a lot of money as well into the project to make it not only stay alive, but to keep developing, keep making their vision come true. If that makes sense.
Sure. And those are a lot of great examples of our previous experiences, and with the the major difference of having a lot of hype and then it kind of dying down, and comes a lot from either you know allowing certain companies or professionals or KOLs or anybody for that matter to have a larger stake, in that specific project, and maybe after at a certain point after the project launches, maybe those companies or those specific professionals or KOLs that hold a certain percentage of that company may not hold on to it as long as maybe a community member would. So like there was a lot of pain points that we came in contact with in the last bull run that we know not to do anymore. And we see that more and more with companies sustaining and not sustaining the excitement and the activities for their community. So really the first question, now we kind of understand the scope of what we're talking about. What are the biggest pain points for for a Web3 user right now that is joining a project, and how can we simplify them? So let's look at it as a user journey kind of thing. And so let me just start off at the ground a little bit more. What is the user journey, and what are the things that we look for in the user journey whenever we're onboarding a user to a new community?
If we are talking, we need to differentiate here and put some more definition into it before we dive into the answer. So if we're talking about a community user journey, or investing into a project type of journey, because in crypto it's something that we have mostly in crypto, which is users or members of the community who is here to invest in the company, and people who are here to to stick around to use the actual solution, whether if it's a platform, and we can talk about an exchange, for example, right? We can take one exchange, for example, and we can say, okay, there are users that are onboarding to start using the exchange, and there are people who invest in the native token of this exchange, assuming they have one or more, because they believe they can make profits. So just give me your 2%. What do you want us to to navigate through? I assume we're going to talk about the users journey, not the investors kind of
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, let's talk about
gotcha.
the user, please.
Okay, perfect. 1 second, Eric. Sorry.
You said once again.
Sorry. I you can hear me now?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you great. Yeah, if we could,
Sorry, man.
so like whenever a company is building and they're just getting ready to launch, say a service or a product, say it's an exchange or a swap or whatever it may be, and at the beginning, these companies they're providing incentives, they're providing tasks, they're providing different ways to incentivize the user to use it, and I'm not sure how sustainable that is, but how do we track the user's journey from the beginning, of them being onboarded and using the service of that project at the beginning, and then how do we continue to optimize that user's experience as they're using the services, and what can we look for?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Let's break it down. And now I'm going to break it down in a way of giving you an example, explaining what is a user journey, giving you like an example of a user journey, and then what's important for a company to keep track or like to do in order to have a successful, you know, life cycle as a company eventually. Because most agencies, most companies, most startups, and we have a lot of startups in the crypto space, aren't meant to live. They're maybe decent ideas, maybe that are trying their luck, believing in what they do, and trying to build a company, which is the right way to do things. Coming from a co-founder of a startup, hopefully a long-living, sustainable startup that will keep on growing. But a lot of the startups and companies, they don't take enough into consideration understanding their user's journey and how to track it and how to understand what needs to be improved. Let me give you a short example, and then we can do like iterations of your feedbacks in between, because I can talk for the whole thing. So just a short example for you.
Okay.
Let's think about a company that build a product, right? Let's say they build an exchange. Now their goal eventually is to bring people to sign up in the exchange, to go through KYC or not. Let's go with yes, they need to go through KYC and start trading. And obviously, I'm not even going into all the features that you have in exchanges, like spot, leverage, I don't know, like NFT marketplaces in some of them even. I don't know. Like, let's go with the usual basic trading experience, spot trading, even not pair or features trading. So
Okay.
the user journey starts in your marketing, basically. So whatever you do to attract those people in, whether you do social media, obviously, whether you do KOLs, PR, partnerships, word of mouth, referrals, and obviously I missed like 10 other marketing solutions that you can use. But whatever you do, each of those channels is a top funnel or a start of your user journey. Of course, in a healthy company, you have a lot more than one user journey. And eventually it merges. But the top funnel, usually there are a lot of starting points. And as they funnel in, eventually the goal should be one clear goal, or two or three different goals maximum, right? For a company. Like, let's say, to have someone depositing and trading in the exchange. That would be the goal. And so I'm starting with KOLs. This KOL will, let's say, post about me, will upload a review video on YouTube about the exchange and how to use it, kind of like a tutorial dash review thing. People will engage with it, will use his affiliate link, will go to the exchange, will open an account, and leave and don't deposit, right? But before they left, they scrolled through the exchange a little bit, like for 2 minutes. They went into specific pages, They even maybe connected wallet and try to deposit, let's say, or not connected wallet, but try to deposit from their own wallet, so the gas fee left, right? This is an example
Mhm.
for a complete user journey.
Gotcha.
And if this exchange didn't implement proper tracking on each of those stages in the funnel, they wouldn't be able to tell, right? Let's say you did 10 KOLs at the same time and you got conversions, but you didn't track which KOL brought you which people. Now you want to do another campaign and you don't know who to scale your budget on, which
Mhm.
KOLs perform better, right? If we go further, okay, let's say, okay, you got 500 new users from this 10 influencer campaign. What next? Like they open an account, right? You don't have proper tracking to see, for example, where they from, like to understand your audience. Maybe your audience is from specific regions. Maybe the audience is a specific demographic or devices. Some of the things I'm saying is Web 2. It's not like user journey is not invented in our ecosystem. It's been there forever, right? And eventually, people who convert, if you're not tracking what they do, or in this example, if you're not tracking properly, you couldn't tell this person left because of high gas fees. And you might as well think something is wrong with the platform, right? What's wrong
Right.
with my exchange? I'm going to start a new iteration of 6 months, building a new feature that I think would help, but it's not the actual problem. And if I would
Sure.
track, I would know what was the actual problem. I may think people leaving because, user interface issues, right? Or a too long onboarding process, but eventually they might leave because completely other reasons.
Right.
Maybe something caught up their attention and they just left and they were planning to go back in after a couple of days. There's endless possibilities of what can be the reason for someone converting, moving forward in the funnel, or not converting. And this is the importance of user journey and knowing how to handle user journeys.
Sure. And there are so many different moving parts to onboarding, new users into your ecosystem. And I can see how helpful it would be to understand exactly what the user is doing, where they're stopping, maybe where they're spending more time, on the specific page or on the specific tool, whatever it may be. Being able to see every single one of their steps, to understand exactly what the majority of the users are liking or not liking, is I mean, that it's a need, for companies. Is there, like, do you know of any tools out there that actually let you see this
Yeah,
for your company?
too many. I can name some of the favorite ones for me. And there's no affiliation in here, guys. So I appreciate a lot platforms, starting from Google Analytics and all the known ones. But I really like Microsoft Clarity as an alternative. It's really nice to. It's also free, like kind of like people can just start because they wanna gain clientele and they want to grow big and compete Google Analytics eventually.
Mhm.
So it's free and it's very nice, very intuitive. I love the
Nice.
interface. So Microsoft Clarity being one, obviously Google Analytics, as I told you. Another one that I really like is, and in Microsoft Clarity, I forgot to mention, you can see screen recordings of users in your website or app. So you can actually see their movements, clicks, scrollings, path, basically. So
Oh, wow.
it provides priceless feedback, yeah. And there are, other solutions more innovative for our industry. Obviously, Web3M has something like that, which is kind of like the equivalent for Google Analytics, but more towards on-chain and off-chain information combined. So if Google Analytics would give you the demographics, the referrals, like the source of your lead, which pages they visited, or whatever, information, which is Web 2, quote unquote, our pixel would deliver all that alongside Web 3 points of information about this user. Sometimes we can tell about a user whether they have a wallet even before they connected the wallet, because we see whenever they're on the website, our pixel is able to see if they have a wallet extension, for example. And then we label this person a Web3 user. And it
Oh,
provides a lot of feedback because you can see, let's say you did a campaign with a KOL, and then you got 1,000 new people out of them to your website. Out of them, you can see how many of them are actually Web3 users and would probably convert or able to convert, and there's a lot into it, but those are, I like Microsoft Clarity. Another one that is great is called Mixpanel. Mixpanel allow you to literally implement events in a very nice way on anything on your website and app, anything, any button clicked, any text box field, literally anything, like really. And so you can kind of like have automated reports about people who got through specific journeys or paths in your website or app, and you can monitor, a lot of information, not manually, if that makes sense. Like you could literally receive reports based on things that you predefine, things that people do in your website, like complex steps or whatever. Like I'm trying not to be too technical here, but yeah, probably people need to check into Mixpanel as well.
sure. And for a company that is just getting started, at what point in a company's startup or in a company's life should they start paying attention to this aspect of their user journey?
Which aspect specifically?
Just learning about how the user is being onboarded, how, where, what they're doing with your community or with your product or your service. At what point would a company start benefiting from documenting and learning about the user journey as they're onboarding?
Day one.
Day one. I see.
Day one. Yeah, day one. Not one day afterwards. Like, with that being said, you don't need to have everything implemented perfectly, and you probably wouldn't realize what perfectly is until you try a million different ways to track. At least if you're kind of like starting out as a founder. If you're like second, third, fourth time founder, you already know those things, and those are the most fundamental things that you set up as you as you get started. Yeah.
I see.
But as soon as you start acting towards building a community, towards publishing content, towards bringing people into whatever, it might be your community channel, your socials, your live events, your product, your NFT collection, your game, your platform, you want day one. You publish your product after you set up all the tracking, after you know what you want to track, after you know what you want those people to do, you know what is an ideal user, you know what is a conversion, you know what is a success for you with a user, and you know what is the opposite. You know what you don't want to get. You know what is a red flag for you. If a lot of people jumping into your website, and you see the scroll is pretty, like the scroll rate, the people who are scrolling down is below X, you know it's a red flag. Something is not engaging enough in your value proposition at the top of your website, at the first 5 to 10 seconds. This is only
Oh,
just
wow.
one basic thing to notice.
I mean, you can essentially understand, you can test so many different concepts
Oh yeah.
with understanding how to use these tools. Like,
Yeah,
and once you can test the different concepts, then that could even be a point of leverage to go get funding from venture capitalists, because
exactly.
you have tested and you have shown success of this concept, because you've seen that, you test it. I'm not sure how you would present that to a VC, but I can see how valuable that would be for a VC to see that transparent information of what's working and what users are enjoying
I can
as the
tell you,
concept.
I would just, you're completely right. I would just create a colorful presentation. No, I'm
Indeed.
joking. It can be great presentation. This is one thing, we had endless iterations in the company at first, at the first year, let's say. You wouldn't believe how many pitch decks we created, and each one was more colorful and longer than the other. And it's completely not interesting, or they couldn't give less Fs. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can try and perfect it just to obliteration, and and
That's what we've been through this, as a company, and I'm sure like all
sure,
the successful companies, they've been through it. Of course, when you're a second time founder, this iteration is much shorter. Like this suffering mode or suffering phase is much shorter, and you get enough feedback and base your value proposition right and adjust your value proposition tens of times. But as you're more experienced, those things are too obvious, or sometimes too obvious, for experienced founders and entrepreneurs to even mention. Things that are, kind of like obvious for them, and they know that you couldn't do anything before you get through basing your value proposition after a lot of feedback, testing, closed beta. What is a closed beta, by the way? A closed beta is this concept of having a closed group of people that you understand they are somewhat, to some degree, they're your ideal audience, and letting them access what you built eventually and provide feedback, because their feedback would probably mean something before you release it to the world. So this is the same concept. Closed beta is just one of many ways to test your solution.
sure. Don't you would you have wished you would have had one of you whenever you first launched Web3M?
Oh yeah. with complete humble, I still, I think I'm still an amateur, in that field. So
Sure,
I,
still
you know
learn.
what I
Everyone's still
had,
learning.
we had it, we had those advisors, we had those experienced people, but a lot of the time we thought we know better, or at least we didn't understand what was their true deep meaning with some of the advices they gave us. You know what I mean? It's
Mm,
very hard to to hear from someone which is experienced, and you appreciate this person, that your idea sucks. Of course, with more gentle terms, but your
sure.
idea sucks and it's shit. You know? It's
Oh
very
my
hard
god.
to absorb such a thing and not go
Yeah.
nuts. And so a lot of the times we just thought, yeah, whatever. You think, you're one person thinking that we know better, and we'll keep on doing it the way we think. And so today, it's not how the world works. But yeah, I hope it was valuable enough. There's tons of other things to touch when thinking about user journey, but I try to compress as much as I could.
Amazing insights today, personally, and for all the audience that had a chance to listen to the end of this or the middle and missed the beginning. Go ahead and there will be a recording on YouTube and of course on LinkedIn. We talked about beyond the hype, how to sustain your growth. And as Israel was mentioning, he's a co-founder of a startup, and he can attest to a lot of the things that you come in contact with. And that's one of the reasons why we're here to talk about these types of things and to bring light and to bring education and to better understand how this space works in this fast evolving Web3 crazy time. So, but I got to run, everybody. Thank you so much, Israel, for joining us today. It was a pleasure. And for all those that would like to learn more about what we're talking about, you can reach out to me or Israel to ask any questions, or visit us at app.web3m.io. You can either join us for events like these on Twitter, and start meeting companies, start building, and start learning, from others, building in the space. So again, thanks, Israel. Appreciate you, man.
Likewise, man. Thank you.
All right, we'll
Thanks
talk to you later,
everybody
everybody.
who listened. Have a good one, man.
All right, see you later. Bye bye.